prophecy and fulfillment of the Old and New Covenant of God. Through the prophets of the Old Testament, God prophesied the appearance of His Son, Jesus, carrying the sins of His people, two types of seeds sown as the new thing, and the promise of the new covenant. Jesus came and fulfilled the Old Covenant as promised by God. Jesus, who fulfilled the Old Testament, prophesied about the things to come in the future, which is the new covenant. This new covenant prophesied what Jesus would fulfill at the second coming. Therefore, He will fulfill the entire new covenant at the time of the second coming, just as He prophesied. Do you believe this? It has been about 2,000 years since Jesus prophesied the New Testament and left. According to what was promised, Jesus comes back to fulfill the New Testament, which is Revelation. However, not a single pastor or congregation member on earth understands the meaning of the revelation at this time. Therefore, even if Jesus fulfilled all the revelation that had been promised, no one would be aware of it. If one does not know this, how could one believe? For that reason, just like how God showed Jesus the fulfillment of the Old Testament and commanded him to testify to the rebellious Israelites, Jesus fulfilled the New Testament and showed it to the promised pastor, opened the scroll for him to eat, and sent him to testify to everything he has seen and heard to the rebellious congregation members. Do you believe the covenant that has been promised? The reason for doing this is to prevent the enemy from making fraudulent use of revelation, which is the secret of heaven. Therefore, general pastors and congregation members must meet the pastor promised according to God's will in the Bible, as well as hear and see the fulfilled reality of the promised revelation and believe it. God fulfilled and commanded everything He promised with Abraham through Moses. Everything God promised to the Old Testament prophets, He fulfilled and commanded through Jesus. The New Testament that Jesus promised was fulfilled through the promised pastor, and Jesus commanded him to testify what has been fulfilled to the churches. Do you believe this? Hence, if a congregation member believes the promise of the Bible and wants to receive salvation, they must meet the promised pastor in the Bible to hear and see so that they may believe. This is the covenant that God made with us, congregation members. The hope of the congregation members can only be fulfilled if they believe and follow the new covenant. In other words, the New Testament and its fulfillment. The promise in the New Testament are the harvest of the ripe fruits from the seeds sown at the time of first coming of Jesus, sealing and creation of the 12 tribes of the new kingdom. The reasons why the pastors and congregation members who are waiting for Jesus' second coming do not receive salvation is because they do not have the knowledge to perceive the meaning of the Bible, and because they believe the words of the false pastors who do not have knowledge. In the 6,000 years of God's history, those who killed the messengers sent by God were false pastors of traditional denominations. If you know this truth, there is no reason not to believe. If one cannot believe this, it is because they have been deceived by their false pastor. The congregation members should believe by seeing and believing the fulfillment of the prophecy. Those who see and believe this will be saved according to the promise. Amen.